Arsenal has reached a total agreement between them and a new player. Who could it be? Welcome back to the Arsenal podcast. Smash the like button. Let us get them to 300 for Aouar today. 300 likes for Aouar and more. Big update. I was live and I was talking about this, my pre-match conference, Mikel Arteta and his boys and so on. And this thing popped up in the comments that we have had a total agreement with Aouar. I couldn't believe it. It is the Telefoot. They have written the story, the Telefoot chain. They have written it. It's written in France, so I cannot read French. It's so embarrassing that I can't read French. But I got a piece of it from AFTV because they translated it, and of course Twitter has a translation button. So visit the Telefoot. It's called the Telefoot La Chaîne du Foot. That is the website. It's called the Telefoot chain in English, but in French it is called the Telefoot La Chaîne. It's called Telefoot La Chaîne du Foot. That is, if I'm reading it correctly, and they are saying Aouar has had a total agreement with Arsenal. Now we shall start negotiations with Lyon. So we have had a total agreement with Aouar. We are going to start negotiations with Lyon over a price. How much will it be? I'm not really sure. Now, guys, over the past 48 hours, I've been reporting so much about Aouar that I've been reporting about Thomas Partey. And you guys have noticed that. Some of you have attacked me or saying I'm making up stories. Others are saying that I'm making these stories by myself. Others are saying these are stories are from weak websites. Here we go. Now, Telefoot is a very big, strong, powerful source of news in France. You can visit it. It has a blue tick on Twitter. They are verified, so don't dare attack them. When they say something, they are right. And most of you always say, Kosi, why don't you give us stories from Sky, from BBC, from Talksport? At times it is not BBC that gets the story first. At times it's not Sky that gets the story first. At times it is some crazy blog that gets the story fast. Roman hasn't tweeted about it. I'm still waiting for his update. Probably it's going to come in 10 or 12 hours time, but we have the update. Okay, Telefoot chain have confirmed that the player himself, Aouar, has finally agreed terms with Arsenal. Total agreement. I repeat, total agreement. And now the first part of the deal is done. The hardest part, though, is not yet started, because we are going to go back for negotiations with Lyon. They want 60 million euros. We don't want to pay it. It's gonna be interesting. For me, I think I've always predicted what to sign for us, but it's going to be an interesting 10 days of the transfer window. The last 10 days of the transfer window for Arsenal. Yes, I know Liverpool have been signing some players. United have signed some. It's our time. It's our time. Probably we can get in Aouar and still force a move for Thomas Partey. What do you think? Because Kevin Campos says something interesting, and now it makes sense. Today he made an allegation or a prediction that he trusts Mikel Arteta and Edu, and he said they will sign both players. They are working hard to sign both players, Thomas Partey and Aouar. It didn't make any sense for me. It didn't. And when I was on the show, I said for me it doesn't make sense. And you guys were like, okay, Kosi, it doesn't make sense. But now it makes sense. The Telefoots are coming in with a breaking story almost just 47 minutes ago, because I was live. You understand? And they are saying, we have agreed that Aouar will join us. Total agreement. We have a total agreement, and now we have to fight with Lyon. Now, guys, in most cases, I think when you agree a deal with a player, when you get a total agreement, it seems you are serious about that player. So we are serious about Aouar. He has been our transfer priority. You know, the stories have been flying in, and now here we go. Our transfer is getting closer and closer. Probably we are getting our man by the end of this week or next week. Could it be the Aouar week? Could it be the same Aouar week, the coming week? It would be interesting. Yeah, I'm very convinced that we might not bring in so many players, but Aouar is enough. Bringing Aouar or Partey, that's enough. I don't want to pressurize Mikel Arteta. I don't want to pressurize the club. Probably we are not in the best financial situation. What do you think? We might not be in the best financial situation, but if you can get in a decent player like Aouar, a decent midfielder like Thomas Partey, that is, 50% solving the problems we have in the midfield. I agree. Creativity, we have sorted the creativity. Probably if the problems persist, defensive wise, then you go for another player in the January transfer window or in the next summer. Even if we don't want to sign a defensive midfielder, we have to. Xhaka is getting older and older. He's not going to stay around for the for all time. You know that. So better be, let us bring in Aouar. This time I'm giving in. Between Partey and Aouar. Let us get in Aouar because his deal looks easier. His deal looks, doable. It looks doable, guys. Because for him, he doesn't have a release clause. That means you can negotiate to as low as 0 million with Lyon. Of course, it can't happen. They cannot give you, the player as a free agent. You know that. But, it makes sense. It now makes sense. All the rumors that have been around this man for the past 48 hours, they make sense. I don't know how many stories I've done about him because I've read so many of them. Personal terms have been agreed. That story came out. A new bid. Arsenal confident. Lyon speaking out. Jean-Michel Aulas coming out to attack us that we don't want to sign the player. We are reluctant to meet the asking price. It meant something. They were calling us. They were calling for competition. And because they know that no one is going to really, give us much competition, we are going to be the big men to take the man. Yeah. So I still think this deal can be struck in the next 7 days. So it's not going to be, a deal that's going to come out of the, out of the blue, and then, in the next 2-3 days. No, I think it's going to be a deal that might take a lot of time. It might take a lot of time, right? It might take around 7 days, 6 days, 8 days. It could also happen on the deadline day, and there's going to be a lot of deadline day madness in the Arsenal transfer, side. I don't know how I'm going to handle that. At 11 you're linked with this man at midday you're linked with the other. At 1 you're linked with the other. Maybe I'll try to handle, because it's 1 day anyway. Yeah, but for me, it makes sense. I cannot doubt the telefoot. I can't doubt the telefoot chain. However, I want to be very frank. This doesn't mean that we are 50% close to signing the player, because a player who has a contract, even if you agree terms and have an agreement with the player, you still need to negotiate with the parent club. So that is where we are going. We need to negotiate with Lyon. How much are they reducing from their asking price? Are we going to pay the 60 million euro? No. Absolutely no. Are we going to fail to get the player? I don't think so. I've always